When I was young, I had a childhood where my parents weren't always getting on. I witnessed arguments between my parents, and even though they tried their best, it left an impact on me because I didn't really have a reference to what true love was. Because I was abused at such a young age, I grew up thinking that I was really ugly, and the thoughts in my head were, why me? And it started to affect me as I got older because I never trusted guys. Later on in life, I realized that I did want to be loved and I wanted to be able to give that love. I started looking in the wrong places, ended up in some volatile relationships, getting pregnant at a very young age. By the time I was 25, I had 3 children. So all of this caused an impact on me. During the period where I was drinking and having that promiscuous lifestyle, I got into a relationship where it led to it being very violent. And there had been a situation where I was 5 months pregnant and he beat me and he was stamping on my head. I was on the floor, and in that moment, I just knew that I needed to get out that situation. Because I never experienced that love that I was seeking for, I wanted to get that love from my children and to be able to give it to them also. But it didn't happen like that. I turned to drink. I was very heavily dependent on alcohol. Even at the time, I didn't believe that I was that parent that was dependent on alcohol, but I would drink after putting them to bed. Because I had such bad eyes to men and my relationships weren't working out, I ended up meeting men online, invite them to my house, and then I would drink and we would sleep together. And that was a continuous pattern throughout my life. There was a time where I would be downstairs in my house entertaining these guys, and then my daughter would come in and she would see me with different men on different occasions. There was another situation where I found myself outside the lift, completely naked, and I just remember looking up and a guy was walking over me, and I felt so embarrassed. I felt like, how could I have drunk so much and not even known how I got here? The cleaners came and they gave me a towel and wrapped the towel around me, and they were laughing at me, and that just made me feel really humiliated at that point. And in that moment, I realized that I needed to change my life. And I remember the invitation that one of my sisters had given me to come to the Universal Church, and soon after I accepted and I came. When I arrived in the Universal Church, I wasn't expecting for everyone to be so friendly, welcoming. Even after the service, an assistant, she just hugged my children. I thought everyone was going to be looking down at me. I decided to keep going to the services because I realized that in the past, nothing worked. And so I gave my all. I kept on coming to the services, listening to the messages, and started reading the Bible for myself. And one day I remember seeing a testimony of someone that had experienced abuse just like myself. And in that moment, I just broke down and I started crying because I was thinking, how is it possible that she overcame and I'm still here feeling this pain? I was 36 and still in pain and having that void inside of me. After listening to the testimony, I realized that I wanted to have what she had inside of her, which was the Holy Spirit. And I realized that in order to seek the Holy Spirit, I had to let go of the past. I had to forgive. There was a campaign that came up and I decided to give my all to make a covenant with God. Told him that I needed him, like I was nothing without him. I wanted that void to be filled until the moment that he came upon me, and that moment, it was like he was saying, you have me. After receiving the Holy Spirit, I had that assurance, I had peace, I had hope as well. In the past, I didn't have that hope. In the past, when problems came, challenges came, I ran to alcohol. Now, problems might come, challenges might come, but I run to God, I run to the altar, and He gives me that hope, and I know everything will be just fine. Today, I'm able to be an example to my children, to give them advice. I'm able to be an example to my family members, my dad, my mum, and I have a good relationship with my parents now. My dad, we speak more now, and I'm an assistant in the church. I'm able to speak to souls. I want the souls to be able to have what I have received, to have that total transformation in their lives as well, to be able to pass on that faith, to let them know that there is hope. After having the transformation in my life, I went through another challenge where I wanted to see a sister of mine that left the church to come back to the presence of God. And again, I decided to go to the altar to make a vow for my sister like Hannah did. I was being sincere with God. I was telling Him, I want my sister to have what He had given me, so I didn't give up on her.
So I was very stubborn and I entered into different relationships. I was just trying to search for something, a feeling. I was very empty inside. I had a void, but I always had my sister that was always supporting me, encouraging me to come back to church. And eventually the penny dropped. That was the day when I was assaulted at work. And I remember just being inconsolable. I didn't have anyone, even though I had people to turn to, I just felt like, because I was so inconsolable, let me just go back to the church. And when I went to the church, I went to the altar and I literally just cried my eyes out. So today I have the Holy Spirit and I have that patience and that peace inside. So even when I go through, for example, situations at work, the work that I do is not so easy, but I have that assurance that God will guide me and lead me through and give me that strength.
Now she is able to be that light in the household of my family, my parents, and to be able to pass on the word to the others in the household also, which is all I can ask. Everything that I have today would mean nothing if I didn't have the Holy Spirit. He's the one that kept me safe, protected me, guided me, and gave me that peace, that freedom. I don't have to worry anymore. And now I have hope, and I feel like I can overcome anything that comes my way with Him.